It's a nice little setup, bro.
How you doing, Mr. Big Mike?
Hello, Zachary. Fist
got
bumpy.
like a little screen in the front of the GoPro.
I mean,
That's pretty fancy.
they've got some features. So what do we got going on here, Zach?
Checks are on this here.
So this is the spot.
This is the spot. Zwing HQ.
I mean, it's got everything you need.
Pretty much.
Just enough space. It's not as small as I thought it was going to be. It's just enough space to do some damage. Well,
Yeah. We got a lift. We got tire machines. When we go to the track and come back, we don't have to take a bunch of drift spares and tires to some used tire shop. We can do whatever we need to do to service this E36 when it breaks at a racetrack.
yeah.
Or in the street. And we can build our swing bars. We got a welder. We got a jig over there. Usually we have a bender bolted to the ground over here. And because the space is small, we have to move things around. They don't always have like a dedicated home, but
Sure.
yeah, this is pretty much all you need. You're downtown Seattle.
Yep.
You get customers calling from Google down the street because they get flat tires all over here because of all the construction.
Okay. Construction. All right, so it isn't, well, clearly it isn't all aftermarket stuff, race stuff. It's just good old regular tire stuff.
Oh yeah, tons of good old regular customers.
Well, is that actually the bread and butter? Is that the meat and potatoes, the regular stuff?
It used to be filmmaking.
Yes.
And I wanted to kind of give my creative juices some regenerating time.
Okay.
And so I wanted to work with my hands and not so much my mind.
Have you taken a controlled specific break from vlogging?
Not from vlogging. I'm talking more so commercial work.
Okay.
So when I used to make commercials for companies, it would take me weeks and weeks, sometimes months of editing to try and make an awesome commercial.
Of course.
And it takes a toll on you when you stay up super late into the night just editing
For weeks, for sure.
And I did that for years. So
now you wanted to focus more on your hands. And how is that with the customer base?
it's been awesome.
No shortage.
I mean, since COVID,
sure,
100%.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was, wondering about.
Yeah, we were doing pretty good. We had a lot of momentum until COVID hit.
And how is it now? Okay.
It's getting slowly better.
Okay. Sort of like a microcosm of the economy.
Yeah.
It's climbing itself back up. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Well, let's see what we have going on in here, Zach.
You gotta have things looking a little more clean.
I'm all about that. I can appreciate that little visual appeal. So when did you get this car back?
Well, so yesterday we just brought it back from the wrap shop.
From the wrap shop. Okay, so that's where it was.
Yeah, M-Wraps redid the side view mirrors right here. They redid the sunroof for us.
Okay.
They did some of the door trim that we didn't do prior since we kind of rushed this build. Here's M-Wraps, that's the company.
Okay, so this is where it was.
Yep.
And they just did some parts of the car.
Yeah, I kind of just been meaning to bring it back to them to finish up a couple things. But yeah, it's a never-ending
Always.
process.
It's always.
Custom builds,
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, this thing I think has been the most non-stop project I've had.
Out of car builds, this is the most nonstop. Why? Yeah. Why do you think this one versus all the other ones?
We had a goal to build this for SEMA in 2019.
Yes.
And we didn't get the contract with our title sponsor signed until a month before SEMA, which we were trying to avoid. That's why we took action to set that up a year in advance, and the negotiations lasted about 11 months.
Yeah.
And so we kind of rushed putting this together. I mean, what you see here, this is a build that took place over the span of 1 month. You'll notice the body gap is from us right after doing this tube front.
Yes.
We had to quickly get this thing on a trailer and bring it places. And we used a winch, and it just totally took the front bumper out of alignment. Many little thing after little thing after little thing, having to basically build, break, rebuild, due to rushing a build like this.
Well, sure.
We cut off the entire front end of the car, and Dream Chaser's Garage helped us build these downward bars and these trailer fender. We use trailer fenders to use the...
for the tubs.
For the tubs, yeah.
Okay.
And
you guys use trailer fenders?
Trailer fenders.
So was that on purpose? Did you measure trailer fenders and say, this will work?
I think Tyler has just done it in the past.
Okay.
And he knew it would work.
It would work.
And it looks pretty good. So, but yeah, we painted the engine bay all crisp, but we've done so much work taking the motor back apart a couple times.
Sure.
Now
it just gets beat up.
Yeah, we got to respray the bay.
For sure.
Times and next door's.
What all those men yelling? What is that?
Yeah, so we live in a state where we enable drug addiction.
Okay. Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, well, so I think that's it's basically like a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center, but it's not. It's just free living for people homeless people who
addicted to.
Yeah. So
what are we thinking? Are we thinking coke? Are we thinking methamphetamines?
No, heroin, meth.
Heroin and meth.
Yeah.
Oh, so the light stuff.
Yeah. Some pretty rad dudes over there.
So I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's not yelling I see the homie walking across the street yelling. It's the yelling I'm fighting the withdrawals. I'm fighting an internal battle / a person or a presence that isn't really there. It's that kind of yelling. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it's kind of...
The good thing about that kind of yelling is that 99% of the time, they are stuck in their own head. So they have no idea. I mean, they are to themselves.
Do they stay in the place?
No, they walk around, but they don't ever, there's no confrontation.
Okay.
They're very just, totally addicted to drugs, and they're just stuck in... How do I get more drugs? That's all they think about.
They're addicted to drugs, and you're addicted
to my drug. Yeah.
To your drug, which I think everyone watching can relate to that. All right, so let's the thing that I like to do, Zach, truthfully, is it's really more about people who know what you do, follow the YouTube channel, the stuff you've created via YouTube or commercials, like we were talking about. Cars or whatever, they're gonna already have a general idea. And I still, I haven't been here, so it's cool. But I care more about what happens behind the scenes, both literally and figuratively, right? So amongst all the things, all the styles, whether it could have been Japanese, European, American, drift, time attack, cruising. I mean, there's so many ways to get in the cars, right?
Oh yeah.
How or why did you find, what influences, what people, what channels, what social media, what magazines, who and why drifting and BMWs? Why?
That's a hard question to
answer. Go, where do you think? I mean, it's not like you have to have some hard...
Well, it's obviously not one thing.
Sure.
I always say this whenever I chat about my background. I jumped into cars. See, I already almost said it. I jumped into cars because of Subarus.
Okay.
When I saw Colin McRae and the World Rallycross thing, I got to see 2 STIs on ramps at a Subaru dealership in Tacoma.
Yes.
Full livery with the yellow SRT USA.
Yes.
Anyway, that inspired me to get into cars. I ran home with a calendar from the dealership and plastered photos all over my walls, and then I built a Subaru. I put an STI motor in it. The swap was a failure. It worked, but it worked.
Was that your first time swapping a boxer?
My first time swapping a car. Like, I don't have any prior car knowledge. Nobody really showed me through the ropes other than a couple friends in high school that also were car enthusiasts. And so the swap didn't really
take.
It didn't come from a history of me building cars or working on cars for years prior. This was my first car. My first car is what I learned how to do everything on. And
that Subaru? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was literally, did you buy a Chilton or a Haynes manual? Did you YouTube stuff?
I bought a Haynes manual.
Bought a Haynes manual?
Went to O'Reilly's, figured out what I need to do to get better fuel economy for my car, and then I started making tutorials from what I was reading in my Haynes manual because I couldn't find how to do certain things on YouTube. So that's how it all...
That's how YouTube started for you?
That's how YouTube started, other than making skate videos in high school. And
all right, so your transition into cars was, I saw this Subaru, this driver, this car, this livery, this colorway.
Yep.
Totally inspired me. I want to learn. So you bought a Subaru.
Yep.
Did a swap. Is that literally the first time you had ever done anything mechanical?
Yeah.
Or no background?
Correct.
No father working in the garage growing up, none of that kind of shit?
None of that.
So the first time you worked on a car was swapping a Subaru?
It got to that point eventually.
Okay, what did you start with? What was the first thing? Taking your wheels off and trying to learn how to do your brakes, or what the fuck?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. Somehow you ended up
getting better fuel economy. And messing with some aesthetic mods, of course.
Yeah.
Like spray painting wheels and just doing simple stuff. Taking apart the engine bay and spray painting things and making things look cool. And then when the head gasket blew, I was forced to then learn how to work on a car. My friend Christian helped me rebuild. We had to go to a junkyard and get a new motor. Started learning about Craigslist and learning about buying parts and whatnot. And then some kid, this is kind of a sad story, but my car was like the butt of a lot of jokes in high school. A lot of people didn't understand the rarity or the cool factor of a World Rally Blue Legacy station wagon with gold wheels.
I actually very much like World Rally Blue as a color.
And you're a car guy.
I have very much, and I appreciate that color.
90% of high schoolers had no idea the appeal.
This was what World Rally was.
Right. It was some niche thing that only myself and a couple people in my high school could understand, and was like, whoa, this is cool. And everybody else just thought it was a lesbo mobile, and I was bullied for it. And
and this is before you would have been known as a vapor.
Dude, I was in the Subaru game way before vaping started. So I left before the vaping started. Okay. It was like a cash and grab, right? Like got my money and went. Like I was in the Subaru community when it was cool and it was exclusive.
I see.
2011, 2010, like when you drove past a Subaru owner, you threw up the deuces. Like you went to Big Northwest Subaru show and it was the coolest thing.
And you felt the community and the camaraderie.
The camaraderie. Being a Subaru owner was very cool, especially if it was World Rally Blue. Anyway, in high school, these people hated on me for this car to the point where this guy keyed a penis on my trunk, like while it was in the high school parking lot. So here's the license plate. Yeah. Here's the balls, and then here's the rest of the shaft.
So a person keyed a sizable penis silhouette on your car in high school.
Yeah. Now.
All right. Do you know who did it?
I do, and that's the sad story. Now here's the light at the end of the tunnel. A week later, God was like, you know what, Zach, you don't deserve that. Boom! Somebody rear ends me. $5,000 check from insurance. Okay. That was like my first big break in life.
But that because it was a legacy, it had better value, so it didn't get totaled out.
It had better value because of the paint job. The guy who actually painted it went on to work for West Coast Customs. So the guy who did the paint job did an incredible job. Like he took out every single brake line, every single plastic.
But I mean, with your insurance though, it didn't total it out, that $5,000.
It totaled it out.
It totaled it out.
I bought the car back for like $100.
Sure.
I kept $5,000.
Yes.
I gave it to a Ukrainian guy who fixed the quarter panel.
Oh, I thought you were about to tell us a narcotics story.
No.
Okay.
Went to a junkyard, found a trunk, got it all sprayed.
So the frame didn't get tweaked? The floor,
just
the
the
trunk floor?
Just the quarter panel.
Okay.
But we got it all sorted, and then that gave me money to buy an STI motor and start this swap. And as a 17-year-old kid,
yeah,
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I got the car running after about a year. It was a long. It was the reason it took so long, especially, is because I was dealing with a CAN-bus system.
Yeah.
And non-CAN-bus wiring.
Yes.
And so I had to like rewire the whole ECU. So like everything about this swap was such an extensive learning curve.
Yes.
That by the time I did that one over there, with the LS3 and an E36, I had some. What would you say? Some skin in the game.
Yeah,
so like,
fair enough.
To understand, okay, this is going to be an overwhelming feat.
You guys, when I show you, for those of you that don't know about that one, when I show you, when he's talking about, oh yeah, I learned wiring, and when you see how much work goes into wiring, it makes you really appreciate the people who do wiring. But we'll see that one in a moment.
Yeah, but. It taught me a lot of things. Okay, let me just fast forward to the sad part about the guy who keyed my car.
Okay. Is there no more Ukrainians? Okay.
No more Ukrainians.
Sad part about the guy.
The saddest part is I went to a funeral.
Yes.
Of a guy who
it's already sad.
Went mountain climbing on his own and fell off a mountain.
Okay.
This kid went to my high school. And I learned at his funeral that he was the one who did it.
Oh, so there was no room for harboring of resentment anymore? Did it just go away the minute?
I mean, I didn't. It was just that thought in your head of learning that day who did it.
Yeah,
is also the person whose funeral you're at.
Sure. So you didn't want to be mad about it because you're like he's passed away.
I don't even care about I mean, I got my $5,000. Like I could care less about the penis in the back of my car. It was.
So you were at his funeral. You went to the funeral.
Yeah.
And somebody there just happened to mention, oh yeah, by the way, remember years ago, he's the one who put a penis in your car.
That's the sad part.
On your car. Okay, so unfortunately that gentleman passed away.
Yes.
And.
Unfortunately.
And. Here we are, though. I mean, BMW, non-Subaru.
Non-Subaru.
How did we go?
So from
Subarus to these.
Subaru moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, all-wheel drive to me was the coolest thing. It was the most practical thing. Living in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
Going snowboarding with your friends. Being able to get up mountains and not having any issues. Until one day. Not a Ukrainian, but a Russian.
Okay.
Threw me the keys to his E36 M3 Techno Violet.
Okay.
And said,
oh, that's a beautiful color.
And said, you should try, take my car for a ride, and you can try drifting it if you want. And
how old were you?
19, I think.
So just out of nowhere, the dude's just. How did you meet? How are you meeting all of these Europeans?
Craigslist.
Wait, hold on.
I think we met because he and I needed some parts for our car.
Yeah.
And I go to his house, I see that he cut holes in his ceiling to put a lift in his garage.
Okay.
And was just undertaking these massive projects, this guy named Slav.
Building them for other people. Okay.
And for himself.
Okay.
And I just was impressed. I was impressed that we could relate to things. He had a strong faith in God, and we had a lot of cool things we could talk about, and he just turned into a friend.
To this day?
Yeah, to this day.
Super cool.
Yeah. And it's the same. It's the same with like people that come to my garage. Like
I thought you were gonna say, you know what, we were, but I've got this sad story.
yeah,
That's what I thought you were gonna say. I was like, wait a minute.
No, no more sad stories.
Okay, very good.
But I've got like followers on Instagram that come to either get their car worked on in my garage, or just come to hang out and want to see the garage. Some of them end up being really rad people.
Yeah.
That you turn into friends. So. Slav threw me the keys to his E36 M3, and then when I came back from my test drive, I told him I want to buy it. So
his car.
Yeah.
Not. Oh, okay.
Not a customer's car.
No, Craigslist meaning you were looking for a car to buy.
I think I met him on Craigslist prior to that, and then we had been hanging out at that point, and then he bought an E36 M3, and he's like, "Yo, I just bought this M3. You should check it out." And I took it for a test drive. I said I want to buy it.
Yes.
So I parted out. I got the Legacy running. The swap was so messy that I just was like, I'm going to have to basically restart before I'm going to be. And I just...
So you decided to what?
I gave up. I parted out the Subaru.
Yeah.
And bought the M3.
So that became the transition into...
That was it.
BMW.
Discovering rear-wheel drive.
Fair enough.
Not even it wasn't even that it was I mean, the BMW part was great. It was the rear-wheel drive part that sold me. Just the feeling of being able to drift a car on pavement.
Yeah.
And not needing to be in the rain or the snow, and it just having enough power to get the ass end out sideways was pretty.
And you were hooked.
I was hooked.
So let's look at this other one.
Not in the best shape it's been in.
So let's talk about this guy right here. What's the plan for this?
Well, before we get too close, you wait right there. First of all,
the stance.
It's in a little bit of a... It's under construction right now.
Okay.
We just built this tube front, and if you notice on the driver's side, we've got some permanent welds done. Here, we've got some sweet... I don't even forget what you call these, but basically a quick release system where this tube front in the center will come right off. So if you want to slide out the motor trans without a lift forward, say you're at the track, you can do so easily. Yeah. On this side, I've got tack welds on everything. You can see tack welds all over the place because I am still waiting to get this over to a frame shop, and but because I don't want to make this side permanent.
Yes.
I probably should have waited all together, but it was as we were building this tube front that we actually discovered the frame damage on this upper frame rail. There's quite the kink up here.
You mean from the chassis that you bought, or did you do it during drifting?
I did it during drifting, but I didn't realize how bad it was. So and that's why like our SLR top hats to like achieve the alignment we were looking for, they're not identical up top. So this is like a little bit maybe rotated, and we've got a caster adjustment on our SLR our steering angle kit down below. Yeah. Trying to basically get them both to 0, but with this side being tweaked a little bit, we had to make some weird adjustments. I want to get my frame dialed. Yeah. So we don't have to do that. Yes. Because we are competing with this car in Pro-Am. Right there, that corner you're looking at, we just removed the fuse box, took out all the relays, went through and consolidated over, nearly 100 pounds of wiring. Just for some perspective, this box behind this vacuum cleaner, this is just like 20 pounds of it.
So you said you got rid of about 100 pounds of wiring.
Look at that.
It just, dude, honestly, I see this kind of stuff often because I'm at Rywire all the time, and I have such a profound respect for wiring.
Dude, the car's been sitting here for a minute because we've been just rewiring it. So if you look in there, you can see we got a little switch panel that we're setting up. It's zip tied up here on this little tube. Our dash reinforcement bar. That's our windows. We're keeping the radio. We got a sick Boss Audio sound system. So that's probably the most wiring you're gonna see here is from sound system.
Sure,
We're
sure.
consolidating it, the rest of it, for like to tail lights, turn signals, headlights, doing the whole race car thing. Just getting rid of
The race car thing,
cluster of
but with an
wire.
audio system.
Yes.
Yes.
You gotta have beats when you pull up to the start line, and you're about to tandem with somebody.
You gotta have that.
You got
bossy
this
lead.
thing just like pounding.
All right. So, what's your go-to track for pulling up at the starting line?
Did you say you're from San Diego?
I'm not.
Okay. For a long time, there was this artist that I met on a Target Trophy cruise.
Yeah.
Eric Diaz.
All right.
I've been bumping his stuff for a while.
Okay, so that's your go-to right now?
Right now, it's my friend Sloan. She's a DJ in Seattle who makes mixes, and she has good taste in music. So I like
what
house,
type of music?
House music.
House, okay.
I dig house music.
Okay, so that's what you're rolling up to. Will be rolling up to.
And then, like some classics, like maybe some Foo Fighters or Muse or, some like, what else?
I mean, there we go.
Can't think of anything.
That's about where we are right now. So, is there a timeline, a deadline for this thing?
Pro-Am is in about a month.
Okay.
So, gotta get this thing up and running. We just ordered our carbon fiber dash from RJ from Big Duck Club down in California. He's gonna get that shipped over just in time for us to wrap up this wiring.
Yes.
And get it all tucked behind a nice
When you
glossy-
say us, who is us?
I like to use us and we because I don't ever feel it's appropriate to claim credit for everything that gets done in my car. Because I always have...
It's a network.
Yeah, there's always friends coming in and out that lend a hand, or we've got contractors that come in here, and I can't take credit for everything.
Okay, so I totally dig it. I mean, I'm very much about the us and the we because it's the same thing. It's about a network. So
100%.
So how did you meet and decide to maintain the relationships with the people who are currently part of these builds?
A lot of the people I have met through Instagram.
Okay.
Or...
we've already established Craigslist.
Craigslist. Yes. Men seeking other men.
Okay, that's deeply unsettling.
I'm just kidding. No, I mean, either in some way through the car industry, but a lot of the time it is people, there's some sweat or there's some equity in the relationship of inspiring these people from making YouTube videos.
Okay.
That people resonate with, and then they want to meet, they want to check out the cars, whatever, and then some of these people end up being rad individuals, and we just maintain a relationship.
And some of them end up being shitty people.
Yeah, or, I mean, I'd say a majority of the people that come through here are generally pretty nice people.
Well, that's good.
But, like you and I talked about earlier, people also do have ulterior motives.
Yes.
And it's kind of weeding out whether people authentically do want to hang out, be around, or if they're trying to get something.
If they're trying to get something.
And it's something in the back of your head, like it's not something that you should immediately think about when
Absolutely.
you're meeting people, but it's something to be cognizant of.
Yes. The thing that's sad about that, and not just car industry, just life in general, is because a lot of times you don't end up really being able to know who those, people who are just trying to get somewhere or get something, until they've already gotten somewhere and gotten something from you.
Including, but not limited to, girls.